Hello everybody, my name is Kristen Carl and I thought it would be really important to talk about my ultimate go wild newbie experience. I want to preface this video by first saying Happy International Women's Day. It is March 8th and I am so proud to be a woman, but Happy International Women's Day to anybody that is watching this. Also, I want to mention that I recognize not everybody may have had the same experience that I did at Go Wild 2023. My experience was honestly the ultimate experience beyond what I could have imagined, but I acknowledge that I am very extroverted at times, and that may not be the case for others that attended, especially for their first time, and may not have received what I received, or may not have felt the way that I felt coming out of Go Wild. For me though, I think it's important to share what that experience was like, how I put myself out there, and what I received for a response from the community. So to start, how I found Go Wild. I am very new to the planner community. If you were to look on my Instagram, I only have several posts. But it started back for me a couple years ago when COVID hit and I started using an Erin Condren teacher planner. I'd begun homeschooling our daughter and I needed a way to record keep everything that we had worked on with her during her schoolwork. And so I fell in love with that teacher planner. It was perfect for what we needed. Fast forward to last summer, probably June-ish, I started looking for a new planner for starting in July. And I stumbled upon Julie's plans, Julie Garza. And she was mentioning Go Wild. And I was like, what is Go Wild? What is she talking about? Like, you hear Go Wild and you're like, And it was exciting to hear about, let me tell you, but not in the way that you may think. I dug a little more through Julie's channel, some of her videos, and then went down the rabbit hole of searching about Go Wild and what this conference is about and what the planner community is all about. And I found something pretty phenomenal of this group of incredible people that seemed so welcoming and kind to one another. It was a very diverse group where everybody's just accepting of who you are, what you're there for, what you're looking to gain out of it, whether you're introverted or extroverted, it didn't matter. And I thought, I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of that world. Anybody that was there on Thursday night will know what I'm referencing if you saw me. More to come on that in a few minutes. But I mentioned it one time to my husband and he ended up going away for a weekend with friends. And he said, I'm gonna miss you. And I said, I'm gonna miss you. Speaking of missing you, can we talk about Go Wild? And he responded and he said, no, we can't talk about Go Wild because I already looked, and because you haven't been previously, you can't get a pre-sale ticket, but this is the date that you can get it. This is how much it is. This is how much a flight would be out of Portland, Maine, leaving on Thursday, coming back on Sunday. Can't find the information on the hotel, but I'm sure we can. So no, we can't talk about it because I already looked into it and I know you need something exciting to look forward to. And I was hysterical. The reason I was hysterical is because my husband acknowledged that I needed something for me. I needed something due to me struggling with my mental health. I needed a way to escape and just be around other beautiful, like-minded people. And he was fully in support of that. And so from there on out, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm doing this. I'm going to Go Wild. And I shared that on TikTok and everything. And Wild for Planners actually responded and basically said, like, we love a good story and we want to actually make sure that you get a ticket. And they gave me a pre-sale code, which I was so fortunate for. At the same time, I was also signing up for Wild University so that I could make sure that I could get a pre-sale ticket. Because if you're a member of Wild U, you could buy a ticket early, and I did not want to miss out on tickets to be gone by the time I got it. Thankfully, it all matched up and I got a ticket early and I was so excited and thankful. As we looked forward to Go Wild coming up and what was to come, I set a couple of goals for myself. The first primary goal was the most important for me. It was to Go Wild and be myself, be authentic, true to who I am. I sometimes can be loud and overbearing and very extroverted, and I am okay with the fact that I might not be everybody's cup of tea. That's okay, because not everybody might be my cup of tea. It doesn't mean I think anything less of them. We just may not have a vibe for each other, and that's okay. I acknowledge that. That's something that I've worked on through therapy. The second one was that I was determined to make friends. And oh, did I ever make friends. I made the best friends. Spoiler alert. The third one was that I wanted to be present. So for me, being present meant that I wanted to take photos of those that I was with, those that I made friends with, that I didn't want to be worried about what was going on at home, stuck in thinking about emails for work or checking constantly on my kids, because I knew my husband would have them handled. He's an incredible father, and I knew that they would totally be safe and fine. And that I wanted to make sure I was taking pictures with the people that I was meeting so that I could continue to remember those moments that I experienced. And it all worked out really, really well for me. And I think part of my Go Wild Newbie experience was because of how much I threw myself out there. So I do want to go through a couple of those things that maybe made a couple people recognize me at Go Wild and why I stood out. Let me tell you, I don't regret any of them. I am proud of myself. I am proud of myself for putting myself out there as much as I did, because I met so many incredible people at Go Wild 2023. It was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life. And on Thursday, I texted my husband and I said, I will come back every single year. When I knew that I was going to Go Wild, I had found a roommate in the Facebook group of attendees on the roommate thread and everything, and found this wonderful woman, Amy, that I ended up matching up with. I originally was matched up with someone else and discovered that I really didn't want to share a bed with a stranger, especially on my first year. Not knowing what I was walking into, I knew that I was going to want time to decompress, be in my hotel room, and that I didn't want to party all the time. I did party more than I expected, but I have no regrets on that either. And so I matched up with Amy, and I am incredibly thankful that I did, because Amy was phenomenal, and she ended up meeting me right at the airport, and we took the metro to the hotel. I wasn't anticipating to walk uphill a little bit. Your girl's a little bit out of shape, and you have to walk up a little bit of a hill to get to the hotel from the metro. And I had my luggage, and thankfully Amy carried one of my other ones for me. I was out of breath by the time we got to the hotel, which I was not expecting, and I felt embarrassed, but I'm like, you know, it is what it is. Again, I'm being me. Amy got that, and I appreciate that she did. When we dropped everything off, Amy had already checked into the room prior to me getting there. We decided to head down to registration, and we got our bag with our shirts and a couple of other swag items in it, and then we walked into the room where all of the sponsor booths were. And I immediately thought, wow, there is a lot going on in here. I don't know where to start. I am extremely overwhelmed. And so we took our time. Thankfully, Amy guided me through the entire room. I immediately asked her to take a picture. She offered to take a picture of me many times, because I knew I wanted to capture those moments. And being a newbie, I didn't know if those booths were going to continue to be there, and if I was going to have an opportunity to take those photos. There were random lines everywhere, and I didn't know what they were for, what was going on. And I thought, my goodness, as a newbie, this is extremely overwhelming. Where do we begin? Is the whole weekend going to be like this? And thankfully it wasn't. I quickly became more comfortable after registration and going into the sponsor booths. We dropped everything off, and we actually ended up going to dinner at a wonderful restaurant. The name of it escapes me. Amy and I sat down. We had some delicious Italian food, and oh my gosh, it was so good. There was this table of llamas next to us, and this one woman ended up speaking to us, and she said, hey, where are you guys from? And we started connecting, and I said, oh my gosh, I have contact cards. Like, let me hand one of these out. This is why I got these. And she looks at it and she says, oh my gosh, I don't need this. I made this contact card, and it was JoJo from JoJo's Pretty Paper Shop, and it was so shocking to know like that where I ordered my contact card and had actually sent her a message back on Etsy saying, this is so beautiful, your presentation was incredible, it was everything I hoped for, was the one that was sitting there being so kind and welcoming with her table talking to us and everything. And from there, my anxiety settled a little bit and I started to feel a little more comfortable about what was to come, and I thought, I'm meant to be here. I'm truly meant to be here. Something about this just feels right. On the way back, we were intending to stop at Walgreens, and I looked at the time and I thought, I signed up for karaoke and I want to make sure that I'm not late. It was very clear on the app, like, please email us if you're going to be late. And I didn't want to be. I tend to run late very often, and in this situation, I just refused. So we ended up going to the karaoke party, and I had told Amy that when I signed up for karaoke, I actually came up with my own lyrics to Part of Your World from The Little Mermaid, one of my favorite songs growing up, only they were Go Wild lyrics. So of course we go into the party. I'm that person, I wanna be right up front. I wanna see what's going on and everything. Kristen from Chrissy Ann Designs comes out, thanks everybody for joining the party, for being there. And you look across the screen and Amy says, oh my gosh, you're third in line to go for karaoke. What? I thought by the time that I did my song, maybe everybody would have had a few drinks, they would have dispersed, they would have been at the confetti carpet, maybe not so engaged as to what was going on. I was wrong. I was third, and all of my planner idols were front and center. I had just previously introduced myself to Julie, and she was the reason why I had found Go Wild, as I previously mentioned, and I was so excited to meet her. And then I thought, she's right up front, and I need to be singing this song in front of her. So the song starts and I introduce myself and say how I'm a Go Wild newbie, and I am so happy to be there. And I truly felt in that moment so happy to be a part of such a beautiful group that I could tell already was welcoming me. I already felt safe and knew that it was right where I belonged. So I start singing the song, and I look up and I've got Julie and Kristen and Laura and Lauren. And as I continue to sing my song and I look up again, I see tears in some of their eyes. And I begin to fumble my words completely. I ended up getting it back together, but I laugh because when I listened back to the video that my roommate Amy had taken of me singing this song, I can hear at the end Julie say, well, damn. And it's one of my favorite moments from the weekend, because that's exactly what I was thinking was, well, damn. Amy came up to me after she had stopped recording and she goes, you made them cry. And I'm like, I made my planner idols cry unintentionally, but they were so sweet coming up to me and hugging me, not having seen anything like that, and being impressed, which isn't why I did it. I did it just to put myself out there. And from that moment on, I was apparently known throughout the weekend because I had people come up to me as I'd be in line or walking past them saying, oh my gosh, you're the girl that sang that song at karaoke where you made up your own words. And I was like, yeah, that's me. And Amy's like, yeah, my roommate's famous. And I'm like, nope, we're gonna save that for Julie and Kristen and Lauren. But I couldn't believe the response that I had received. And the night continues and we are dancing and we are having fun, and we end up making friends with these two fantastic women, Valerie and Dominique. And we had an incredible time singing at the top of our lungs and dancing with every single person that was out on stage singing and everything. And we had an incredible night. I was exhausted after. My throat was incredibly hoarse. It still is a little bit. If you can't hear that in my voice, you've never met me before, but it sounds a little off from how I normally sound. But my voice was quite hoarse, even waking up the next morning. But it was totally worth it. And the singing and the screaming was great. And Valerie and Dominique were wonderful. And I thought, wow, I'm so lucky to have met them. fast forward to the next morning, we are in line early and we meet Bridget, who was new to me, and Brianna, who I had previously met in a Snapchat group that Amy, my roommate, had made. And so we got to hang out with them for a while and just converse with them and have some great stories to share. And going into day one, Amy and I had discussed how it was really important for us to kind of be able to go our separate ways and do our own thing, to be able to kind of take in the experience individually so that we weren't fully attached the entire time. And so we decided to kind of high five as we walked off into the room for day one, where all the tables are set up with swag, and I moved my way to the back of the room. Ironically, I ended up at a Planner Kate table, who I very much use Kate's products almost weekly, and Amy ended up there as well. That was the table that she was looking for. Meanwhile, I have a card for Julie that I had written out. I'd written a hand note card for her, thanking her for just talking about Go Wild, because it's what brought me there. And I needed her to know the importance of what it was for me to be there and her part in it. And so I walked up front and I see her up on stage and I think, oh my gosh, she's way too busy. I can't give this to her right now. But I walked past a table that's at the very front of the room. It was a Chrissy Ann Designs table, and I saw this great group of people and there were open seats at the very, very front. And I thought, oh my gosh, I need to switch seats. I need to sit at this table. Something drew me to that table, and looking back now, I know why. So I said, are these seats open? And they said, yeah, absolutely. And I set down my card for Julie. I went back to my Planner Kate table and I grabbed my bag and I said, Amy, I'm bailing on you. I'm going to the very front of the room. I found a seat and I really feel like I need to sit there. Great decision that I did it, quite frankly, because I knew that I wanted to fully submerge myself into the experience of Go Wild, and I knew being up front was going to do that. What I didn't know was the beautiful people that I was going to meet at that table. I met Taylor and her mom, Lisa. Hi, Mom and Taylor. I met Annie and Megan. I met Amy, who that day was depending on our ASL interpreter, who unfortunately had to cancel due to emergency. And then next to me, there was a rainbow sweater that I assumed was for a volunteer because they were not at the table, and I figured whoever it was off doing their volunteer work. And come to find out, it ended up being Dominique from karaoke. So it just felt so good. It felt so right, just how it was supposed to play out. And I ended up sitting at that table on day 2 as well, unexpectedly. I never thought like I'm gonna sit at the same table on day 2. I thought I was gonna end up changing where I sat. My heart was just drawn to them and I knew I needed to be back with them for day 2 as well. Thankfully on day 2, we did also have 2 beautiful, incredible, I keep saying incredible, I know, but that's exactly what this experience was. Wonderful, outstanding ASL interpreters for Amy, and it made my heart so, so, so happy that she had that. And thank you to Wild for Planners for providing that. For Amy alone, I'm not sure if anybody else ended up needing the interpreters, but just to have them for my new friend Amy was so fantastic and made me so proud to be a part of a community that is so considerate of some ADA type needs. I met Sam, who I had watched some of her vlogs from last year in preparation for Go Wild this year. So I watched many different YouTube channels of people's experiences at Go Wild last year, just so I got a sense of what might occur this year, and so I could try to feel a little bit prepared. And Sam was great. She took a picture. I took a picture on my phone, and she was just lovely to me and everything. That night, let me backtrack. Day 1, I did not anticipate the emotions, especially when Alex L came up. I did choose to partake in the sessions that Alex had us do. And again, I chose to participate. I did not have to. I felt comfortable doing that. And it really pushed me outside of my comfort zone, but I was totally okay with that. For anybody else that wasn't okay with that, I am sorry that that was your experience or if it triggered anybody. And I hope if you were comfortable enough that you did choose to sit out of those sessions or the little like breakout groups that Alex had us do. For me, it was great. And at the end of the one that I ended up doing with Amy, my table mate, Amy expressed after, as our arms are linked and my eyes are closed and I'm leaning into her for the song, just bawling, that afterwards she said, I couldn't hear the lyrics to the song. And I thought, oh my gosh, how terrible of me to be leaning in on her like we're supposed to be if we felt the impact of the lyrics and everything, but she didn't hear them. She ended up going back that night, she said, and listening to the song and understood why the words resonated with me. And I think she probably felt some of those words and the impact of them as well. And we hugged again on day 2, and it was beautiful and such a fantastic experience in that. But on day 1, we ended up going to a dinner that Amy and I had signed up for previously, Amy, my roommate, of originally a group of like 18 other people that wanted to meet some others on like a smaller basis. So we went to Barcelona Wine Bar. The food was heavenly. I was so incredibly full, let me tell you. But at that point I was also very drained and fatigued. Next to me was Amy, across from me was the beautiful Keisha, and we chatted a lot, and all I could think was, I just want to lay down on this bench. I am so tired. I knew Go Wild fatigue was gonna hit, but I didn't expect it or anticipate it to be so strong. I definitely wish I'd had a few days to recover from it, but it is what it is. That night, after the crop event, we did breakout sessions. Amy went to one, I went to Debt Free Panda. Mine was done before hers. I went upstairs and I showered, and I thought, I just need to lay down. I am so tired. And so Amy decided to go downstairs to the hotel bar with our new friend Annie for another drink. And she ended up coming back into the room, I think probably around like 1 a.m., 12:30 maybe. And we stayed up talking, having the most real and genuine, raw conversation until 2:30 in the morning. The cat nap I had had while she was downstairs was exactly what we needed, but I feel like we just kind of confessed so much to each other, which was so easy because it's easy to do with a stranger. But it was so touching to my heart that she was so willing to be open with me and to be so honest to a total stranger. I just really valued that conversation. Amy, thank you again for that. I love you so much. And then we ended up going to bed and getting back up, I think at like 6 a.m. For day 2. Day 2, I ended up sitting back with my planner people, my beautiful people at my table right up front again. Amy, Taylor, Lisa, and Jeanette ended up joining us, and Dominique was there again as well. And we got to say hi to each other and reconnect and everything. We actually did, most of us did do table mate gifts. I knew going into it that I wanted to and expected nothing in return. For me, I love the idea of giving a gift to others. And so I made a cute little like Go Wild pouch, and it had like the Go Wild logo on it, and it said like Go Wild Essentials, friends check, planners check, snacks check, and I just put like a few goodies in there for them to be able to take home or have those snacks while we were sitting there. It was like a Kind bar, some little like Nutella bite things, some Neutrogena face wipes, chapstick, gum, mints, I think a pair of like llama socks. But for me, I wanted to give a gift to the others, just to say, hey, this is me. Thank you for letting me sit with you. And I got a few gifts as well. And so thank you to my table mates for those. I really appreciate them and cherish those gifts greatly. Taylor and I ended up going upstairs together. I thought, hey, can I go upstairs with you for our like snack break? And she's like, yeah, like let's go. And so we ended up hanging out. There was a Wild You photo scheduled, which I said earlier, I had recently signed up for, and I thought, I want to be a part of that photo. I'm excited to be joining and to get like more in depth with the group and to really gain some knowledge from Wild University. And I thought, I really want to be in that photo. And we got up there, it was a little chaotic. Mary ended up pulling it together and kind of figuring out what was going on. And they basically said, can a couple of you go inside to like where the sponsor booths are and let people know that the Wild You photo is about to happen. I don't need to be tempted to be loud and go in and kind of invite other people in. So that's exactly what I did. I went into the groups and started yelling, if you are a member of Wild You, the photo is happening in just a few minutes. And we got a really great group of people together for the Wild You photo, took that photo, and then I believe at that point, Frank Warren's post-secret session was starting. I had not grabbed something to eat. I was feeling a little nauseous, and I knew that I needed to grab something just to settle my belly, because your eating habits over the weekend of Go Wild are not the norm for my body personally. And so I thought, I'm gonna wait in line and get something to snack on real quick. After that, I actually went over to the Erin Condren booth where I got to meet Tanya. And we took a photo together, and we got to talk about like what I'm currently using for a planner. I'm using an EC Hourly, and I found my planner piece with it. Let me tell you, I feel so found using it, if that makes sense. I really feel planner piece using that. And so I was excited to talk with Tanya about that. And when I returned, Frank's session was going on for Post Secret. And he shared a lot of secrets, some that were hilarious, and some that struck me right to my core. Any that involve SA, SI, definitely were triggering for some, and for me they certainly were, due to life experience, unfortunately. But I anticipated that there would be emotions. There was an opportunity at one point, and this is one of the things that I think probably made me stand out again throughout the weekend, was there was an opportunity for some people to speak and share their secret. And the secret that I shared was that I had mailed mine in previously, and it was, I am terrified that I won't make any friends at my first Go Wild. And I was so thankful that I was wrong. And the whole room, when I said that I was terrified I wouldn't make any friends, went, oh, like they felt it for me, which was so beyond like what I could have anticipated or expected. My heart felt so full that I felt so welcome in that room of so many people. I felt safe, I felt seen, and to know how many people probably felt the exact same way prior to going to Go Wild, just like I did. I knew I needed to share that secret if I had that opportunity, because it's overwhelming to go into the group. It's overwhelming to go into your first Go Wild, I learned. And I just didn't want anybody else to feel alone. And Jen was the volunteer that was standing next to the microphone, and she gave me the biggest hug. And when I saw her crying, I had already been crying at that point. But it struck me that I was not alone in my feelings. Jen had been there previously. She's well known in the planner community. But that even she felt that impact meant a lot to me, and I knew it was important that I had shared my secret. And as I'm walking back to the front of the room where my seat is and back up the center aisle, Jen stopped me, Kristen stopped me, and they gave me these big hugs and said, I'm so happy you're here. And my heart, I don't want to get emotional, my heart exploded. And I never even heard what Frank was saying to me, because I was so overwhelmed thinking about what was going on and the hugs that they were giving me and how much I needed those, and then going back and just wiping away my tears. but that session was really, really important for me, and I'm so thankful that I got to be a part of it. So I'd say that was the second thing that probably really made me stand out at Go Wild. We continued the day. Amy and I took a nap. We had gotten some food. We went down to Plan Jamma and ended up hanging out with Amy, my roommate, Amy, my table mate, and Valerie again. Met some wonderful people again throughout the night. Dominique ended up joining us, and Laura ended up saying how, Lauren actually I think talked about it, and then Laura ended up being the one to do it, how they were gonna go away and they were gonna give away tickets to next year's Go Wild. And I was like, great, for whoever wins those. Like, that's freaking amazing, because it's not the cheapest, but let me tell you, it is worth every penny that I spent. I wish that I could pay for many people to go, because I would if I could, because I'd love them to get the experience that I did. But they went ahead and they started out on the dance floor. We'd already been dancing. We'd had a few drinks. I had had margaritas. And Amy and I were on the dance floor, my table mate, and Amy, I think, my roommate, went to go get drinks, and maybe Valerie went to the bathroom or something. Amy and I are dancing, and I wish I knew who this beautiful woman was that was like, dance with me and vibing, and I am shaking my butt. And let me tell you, there is nothing back there for me to be shaking, but I was doing it anyway. I was working on it. But there was this beautiful woman. If you know who you are, please say something. I would love to reconnect with you, because I swear you are the reason why, girl. We're dancing, and I don't even notice that Laura's right there. And she says, you just want a ticket to Go Wild next year. And I'm like, who is she? Like, me? She's like, you just want a ticket to Go Wild next year. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I start bawling again. I'm very emotional. We end up taking a photo, myself and the other winner. And then she says, can we go take a picture with Taylor, the other winner? She's in a wheelchair. And I'm like, my Taylor? We got out there and Taylor's like, I want a ticket. I'm like, I want a ticket to next year too. I was in disbelief. Still, I don't know why Lauren picked me, because I must have, I guess, I know with a couple drinks, I must have been doing okay for myself. I was feeling good. I was one of the happiest moments, honestly. One of the happiest moments of my life. And I'm sorry to get emotional. I was shocked at the feelings I got from the weekend. I was shocked at the people that I got to know, the friends that I made, how welcomed I felt. And again, I recognize that not everybody may have felt that way this weekend, but I will say that if you are considering going to Go Wild for 2024, I could not recommend it more. I hope that I get to meet you there, and I hope that my friends are able to make it again and everything, because it was one of the most tremendous experiences I've ever had. Thank you to the Wild for Planners team, because I needed it more than I ever knew. And I, next year, would love to be like a newbie liaison, if that's a thing, because I don't want anyone new to feel lost, maybe how I felt at the beginning. And that's part of the course when you have that many people in a group. But I don't want anybody to feel too overwhelmed. I want them to feel welcome and to feel safe and to feel all the things that I felt. Because let me tell you, I felt all the feels. Every single one, every single emotion, I felt it over the weekend. But I hope that so many people get to join next year, and then I get to see all my planner friends again. It really was the ultimate Go Wild newbie experience, and I have no idea how next year will top it. I know it will. I honestly have no doubt that it will. And I am So looking forward to it. I can't wait to hug everybody again, to make some of the newbies feel welcome and bring them in. And I just can't wait to see everybody. So thank you for listening. If you've made it this far, I'm sure I've talked a lot. I had to stop it at one point because I messed up, and I'm now at 17 minutes. And my chair keeps squeaking that I'm sitting on, so sorry for that. But I can't wait till next year. Thank you for listening to my story, for everybody that approached me and said hi, everybody that took a picture with me, for the friends I made. I love you all, and I cannot wait to see you at Go Wild 2024. See you next year.